stop a hurricane or at least take the punch out of it?
Oh, don't we all wish we could stop hurricanes? Unfortunately, they are here to stay. Actually, for some areas in the world, hurricanes or typhoons, they're actually helpful for communities to bring water or refresh lakes or things like that. Or in the U.S. and Gulf of Mexico, they help to kind of cleanse the estuaries that we have. So they are helpful in a sense. They do create a lot of damage. And so what we've learned to do and what people should do is to learn how to live with them and adapt to them. These are things that are always going to be, it's how Mother Nature balances itself.
The problem with taking on a hurricane is that all the options are big ideas that need big money to come to fruition. One of the issues is that none of these ideas are without consequences. Stop a hurricane and you could stop the rain that waters crops. Divert a hurricane from its path and deal with the wrath of the people who now find themselves hit. Kelly, living in hurricane-prone Florida, showed us how better hurricane planning makes her home and family safer. And around the world, we do well to weatherproof our communities better. So is there room for geoengineering fighting hurricanes? The bill for the damage they cause globally runs into the hundreds of billions. Hurricane Maria cost each Puerto Rican citizen personally $10,000. Sooner or later, surely some government will decide that one of the schemes we've mentioned is the cheaper option. Last word to Kelly to read the credits.
That's the end of this edition of Crowd Science from the BBC World Service. The question was from me, Kelly Malloy, in Lithia, Florida, and the team wants to hear from you. If you have a question, please send it to crowdscience@bbc.co.uk. This week's program was presented by Marnie Chesterton and produced by Marika Peters. Thanks for listening. Bye. Bye.
I'm Amy Hammond from Shreveport, and I love Red River Radio because not only do we have fantastic national coverage of the news and events, but we have amazing local stuff too. News and people and on-air personalities. I just love this radio station. How about you? If you love Red River Radio too, please make your contribution of support today, online at redriverradio.org or by calling 1-800-552-8502.
What does it mean to be the voice of the community?
A story that has persisted for nearly 10 centuries.
Good morning, I'm Chuck Smith. A group of Texas House lawmakers heard from military experts and city planners at a special legislative hearing.
Joining me in the studio, the music director of the Shreveport Symphony Orchestra, Michael Butterman. Great to see you.
Great to see you too. Good to be back with you, Kermit.
Red River Radio, your voice of the community, supported by you at redriverradio.org.
And you can do that right now at 800-552-8502. Go online right now to redriverradio.org. Getting back to classical music for a few hours this afternoon. The next edition of the BBC will come up this afternoon at 3 o'clock, followed by All Things Considered, Marketplace, and This American Life. And we hope you will tune in for all of that. Right now, though, we hope that those of you who enjoy the afternoon classical music will go to your phones and make a phone call at 800-552-8502 or online right now to redriverradio.org. We do have a match for this hour as well. Not a lot of folks calling in during the last hour, but we do have a match for this hour. And we do have one thank you to send out, an anonymous pledge from Shreveport, Louisiana. Thank you very much for your donation and for your support of Red River Radio. We're going to encourage everybody to go to your phones right now. I know it's kind of a nice day out there. It's not raining. It doesn't look like it's overly hot. And it's a holiday, so you're probably all out and about. But if you can take a few moments out of your time to help out your public radio station, make sure we can continue on the air, we would appreciate it. 800-552-8502, the number to call. Go online now to redriverradio.org. So easy to do. All you have to do is just do it. And go to your phones right now. We have classical music coming up, as I said, tomorrow night. At 8 o'clock, we'll have live music back on the air. Twang Darkly will be performing. Wednesday night, Bo Atkins from Ruston, Florida, along with Monty Russell, and they'll bring some friends along over from Ruston. They're going to be playing some good down-home Americana music, blues and country and soul and folk. And then on Thursday morning, Shreveport Opera Express comes into our studios. And on Thursday night, Nick Brumley and Mus Gillum will be in our studios with some original singer-songwriter material. We hope you'll tune in for all of that. Right now, though, again, we encourage you to go to your phones at 800-552-8502, and please help us out this afternoon as we have a match on the table for the next hour, so every pledge will count double for Red River Radio. Make your call now at 800-552-8502 or online at redriverradio.org.
Overtures to Swedish operas here. We have one from the early 1840s by a composer named Franz Berwald. This is the overture to his opera Estrella de Soria, and the Royal Philharmonic is conducted by Ulf Björlen. Ulf Björlin conducted the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra in the overture to an opera from the early 1840s by a Swedish composer named Franz Berwald. The opera is called Estrella di Soria. Now an overture to an opera from 1873 by another Swede named Oskar Byström. This is the Gävle Symphony conducted by Carlos Spirer. Gävle Symphony, conducted by Carlos Spirer, in music by a Swedish composer named Oskar Byström. Overture to an 1873 opera called Hermann Wimpel. And to the third of our three Swedish overtures, and by the way, we do have a Beethoven piano sonata coming up. This is one from 1944 by Albert Henneberry, and the opera is called Bolla and Badin. Overture to a Swedish opera from 1942 by Albert Henneberry called Bolla and Badin, an opera which we will never see. Norrköping Symphony, Sten Frykberg, the conductor.
I'm Jack Charity, and from the day I arrived in Shreveport almost 30 years ago, I have listened to Red River Radio.
I'm Jack's wife, Nadine, and I'm the reason Jack has been listening, as I have been a member of Red River Radio since it first came on air in 1985.
I suppose that is one more thing I should thank you for, dear.
How about you? If you love Red River Radio too, please make your contribution of support today online at redriverradio.org or by calling 1-800-552-8502.
What does it mean to be the voice of the community?
In 1970, Father Murray Clayton brought Sister Margaret McCaffrey to Shreveport.
A few months ago, he said, we're going to do something with the Shreveport Symphony. I said, you mean the Shreveport, Louisiana Symphony? Amazing grace.
Red River Radio, your voice of the community, supported by you at redriverradio.org.
And that is so true. Supported by the contributions of each and every listener who calls in during our drives and throughout the year. 800-552-8502, the number to call right now and show your support for great classical music and news and information, blues, jazz, folk music, alternative music, live from here, comedy shows like Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me, Car Talk, quiz shows like Says You, and very sort of thoughtful and probing programs like the TED Radio Hour and This American Life and Radio Lab and Snap Judgment. All of these programs, a very powerful incentive to hopefully move you from that position of, I don't know, to that position of, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and make a donation. I'm going to be involved. I'm going to be a supporter. We have a match on the table this hour, 800-552-8502. Please go to your phones at that number or go online to redriverradio.org. Help us out this afternoon. This is a slow Monday, and it is a holiday for many of you, so obviously folks are out and about, but we'd still like to do some business here. We're just at a little over $42,000, and we have quite a ways to go, so the more you can help out right now, the shorter our drive will be. That's what we would like to get to, is we'd love to get to a one-week drive, but we can't do it unless everybody just makes those calls early on. 800-552-8502. Go online to redriverradio.org now and take out your support. We'd like to thank the folks at Herbie K's, Angela, and the staff there for lunch today. It was the big shrimp, as they are noted for, and that delicious red sweet sauce with some fries and some homemade bread, and it was quite delicious. 800-552-8502. When you get a chance to stop by Herbie's K's next time, thank them for supporting your public radio station. They'll appreciate it, and it helps kind of generate that knowingness among the businesses that it's a good thing to support public radio, that we are connected throughout the community as they are, and we work together. Please call in right now. We need your help this afternoon. We have a lot of thank you gifts to offer you. A new one this time around is the Louisiana Tables book. It's a recipe book and all about Louisiana cuisine, and that is available for a $60 pledge, or you can go on up from there at an $80 pledge and get a brand new All Things Considered mug. And then on up from there, we have at the $120 a year level, the brand new Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me coffee mug, tarnishing the brand of NPR for 20 years now. It's their 20th anniversary mug. All of these available as thank you gifts. But keep in mind, as always, the most important thing is the programming. That's what we're here for. Everybody who listens, everybody who works here is here for the same reason. We love the programming. We want to see it continue. It's a part of our lives. It's a part of your lives. And if we all pull together, we can make this happen for yet another year. We've been doing this a long time, 34 years now, and we'd like to do it for another 34 years. But again, it takes the effort of each and every one of us to make this happen. So please go to your phones right now at 800-552-8502 or go online to redriverradio.org. We're going to get back to some more classical music now. We hope you'll call in during the program.
Peter Van de Graaff here with music for you, and here's what I have. We'll be listening to some music which Sibelius composed for a play called King Christian II later on. And we have a very early work of Franz Schubert now. He was 15 years old when he wrote this string quartet. It's number 2 in C major, and it's performed by the Artis Quartet. Franz Schubert was just 15 years old when he wrote that music. It's his String Quartet No. 2. It was thought to be incomplete, and then a second part was found in the 20th century. It was finally published in 1954 for the first time in its entirety, the 4 movements. That was the Artis Quartet.
This is Michael Butterman, music director of the Shreveport Symphony Orchestra, and Red River Radio is my home for great music, both familiar favorites and new discoveries. It's also my go-to source for news and informed analysis of everything that goes on in our world. How about you? If you love Red River Radio too, please make your contribution of support today online at redriverradio.org or by calling 1-800-552-8502.
And we hope you do right now, 800-552-8502. Go online right now to redriverradio.org. We need to hear from you this afternoon because it is you that makes public radio go. It is the individual listener supporter that keeps this station active and alive. 2/3 of our budget, almost $700,000, a little over $600,000, needs to be raised locally here in order to keep this public radio station going. We do a minimum of 2 drives a year, usually 3 drives a year, just because we're trying to make up that slack, at the end of the year. We'd rather not do that, folks. We'd rather just take care of this all. We all kind of have our things that we've got to do every day, and we'd like this to be one of those, to make sure that you are a supporter of your public radio station each and every year. All you got to do is become a sustaining member. That's the easiest way, literally, to make sure that at all times you are doing your part for your public radio station here at Red River Radio. A sustaining membership is without a doubt the best way to go about ensuring that public radio will be here for many, many years to come. 800-552-8502. You can go online right now to redriverradio.org. So important that each and every one of us that listen, that enjoy the service, that get so much out of it. I mean, truthfully, we all get so much out of this public radio station and the services that they provide. It is so important that we all be a part of that community, that foundation, if you will, of support that keeps us going. And we can't do it without you folks. So we hope you'll go to your phone right now at 800-552-8502 or go online right now to redriverradio.org and become a part of that. Become a part of that community of listeners. If you're not yet a member of public radio, then we'd like you to be. And if you're a continuing supporter, thank you so much for the support that you give. And please continue it, obviously, and encourage those who are not yet members to do so. Help them hopefully come to that understanding that, it's easy to take something for granted until that something is gone. And then we all decry it, but we don't realize that had we done our part, then maybe that would not have happened. And We don't want to see that obviously happen to any of the good things here in the Shreveport-Bossier area, in the Alexandria-Pineville area, in the Lufkin-Nacogdoches area, or in the El Dorado-Magnolia area, and soon to be over in the Tyler area. We want to make sure that we expand our service area, that we can bring more enriching program to each and every one of you, and that we can do our part to fill in, and bring special things to your life. But we need your help. This is a partnership, and we need you to be involved in that partnership, and we hope that you will join us right now. 800-552-8502. Go online right now to redriverradio.org. Take advantage of the match that we have on the table right now. It's a dollar-for-dollar match. Take advantage of the fact that you'll get entered into 4 upcoming drawings. 3 of those for gift cards to the Louisiana Boardwalk. We'll give away a $200 gift card tomorrow, a $400 gift card on Thursday, and a $500 gift card at the end of the drive. We also have a Mattress Plus special pure latex queen size mattress that we will be giving away Wednesday night. Your donation right now gets you entered into every one of those drawings. We've got live music coming up for you in the evenings and Thursday morning. We have Twang Darkly coming in Tuesday night, Bo Atkins and Monty Russell and Friends coming in Wednesday night. Shreveport Opera Express will be here Thursday morning. Nick Brumley and Mus Gillum will be here Thursday night. All of this made possible, again, by listener contributions in the past, and in order to continue into the future, we need your listener contribution right now. 800-552-8502. Go online right now to redriverradio.org. Don't let the opportunity pass to do your part. You are a vital part of Red River Radio, and we hope that you will stay with us and continue to support us. We're going to get back now to a little more music, and we hope you'll call in during the music. Again, 800-552-8502.
Company with Music, I'm Peter Van de Graaff. We're going to listen to some Beethoven later on, music by a Beethoven contemporary, sometimes referred to as the French Beethoven, and Wagner right now. From Die Walküre, we have Leopold Stokowski conducting his own transcription for orchestra alone of what is the very end of the opera, Wotan's Farewell and the Magic Fire Music. Leopold Stokowski conducting his own arrangement for orchestra alone of what was originally a sung part of the opera Die Walküre, The Valkyries by Richard Wagner, Wotan's Farewell, and the Magic Fire Music.
What does it take to make great public radio programming? Well, one can say it takes talented on-air people. It takes the resources to be able to bring you news from all over the world. It takes great musicians playing music, recorded especially for you. But the truth of the matter is, what it takes most of all is you. Your contribution to keep this station on the air. Contribute now to Red River Radio at 800-552-8502 or make a pledge online at redriverradio.org. Thanks.
We certainly hope you will do that right now. 800-552-8502. We have Julie Jamison and Gail Beal with me right now, and it's a slow day.
Well, we're hoping to speed it up, but we're too old to take our clothes off.
There you go. Well, we're not going to go there.
Wow, this is very important. And now there's a webcam, Gail.
Yeah. You don't want to do that. Give us a call, 800-552-8502. I'm too old to do that, too, and I'm not going to. So thank you. Call in and thank me for not doing that. There you go.
That's the first thing, pledge and get that over with. Right.
Yeah, there you go. We are trying to raise some money this afternoon around classical music, and it has been a slow and painful process. This is, of course, a holiday. It's a Monday. Nobody likes Mondays. But still, we've got to take care of business today, folks. So we're just at $42,000, almost at $43,000. And it has been very slow today, so hopefully it'll pick up later on this afternoon. But right now, we'd like you to pick it up right now at 800-552-8502. Julie, tell them why they need to do that.
So many reasons. First, in addition to all of the things that are going on, the station is also participating in a food drive today. And so Gail and I have cleaned out the pantries. We've got a whole huge stack of canned goods here. Any donation of any number, donate $10
or 200
or 200. And we will move something from this side over to that side, and all those donations will go to the I'm from Texas. The North Louisiana Food Bank.
Right. And yes. It's all very southern. It's rice and beans and greens.
You can totally tell that I cleaned out my pantry. It is. It's greens, and it is sweet potatoes, and it is beans, and it is rice. It's real clear where my pantry is.
And the whole point of it is that public radio, Red River Radio, is so eclectic. Julie and I are both great bakers, so we're going to answer any questions that anybody's got if they pledge money about baking. But we go, I was listening on a long ride from Houston. We go from bluegrass to Bach to Celtic music to wonderful talk shows to... I don't know that there's anything that we don't do, including cooking shows. Right. That's the important thing about this radio station.
Yeah, that's what we were thinking about on the way in. It seems that a lot of times when it's this time of year, you start hearing people ask for donations, and you kind of turn it down and just wait for the music to come back up or to wait for the news to come on. And so we thought maybe if it was a little more programming in our asking, that maybe some of y'all would hang around. Gail happens to be a master baker, and I own a bakery. So, any of your baking questions, the holidays are coming up. There's going to be lots of baking, lots of family events and things. And if there's anything that's really, really, you've pondered for a while, why are my cookies spreading all over the place? How do I do this? How do I do that?
How do I flame my grandmother's plum pudding?
Exactly. So go ahead, ask those questions. We'll answer them on air for you. And if you do make a donation, regardless of size, in addition to all of the lovely thank you gifts, you'll be helping make a donation to the North Louisiana Food Pantry.
All right. So give us a call right now. Help out 800-552-8502. Go online right now to redriverradio.org. Every time I try to bake brownies, I end up with a new cobblestone for my backyard.
I can help you with that.
Yeah, they are solid, and they do last a long time.
No, you're over baking them.
Oh, yes. Well, that's I'm overcooked and well done. So give us a call at 552-8502, 800-552-8502. Or go online this afternoon to redriverradio.org. We'll be back shortly. We've got a lot of things to talk to you about, but most importantly, Without you, the listener supporter of Red River Radio ceases to exist. Without enough of you, Red River Radio, we don't have the money to carry this program or that program. So it all really it boils down to the individual listener giver. If you're not there for your radio station can't be there for you. So please, while you've got time today, I know it's a nice day out and people are out and about and it's a holiday, but take a moment out of your day, or at least mark it down. I'm going to call later on, and make sure that you support your public radio station here at Red River Radio. We're going to go back now to some more classical music. Please call in during the program at 800-552-8502. Go online to redriverradio.org and help us out.
This is Peter Van de Graaff with several bagatelles. We have a whole set, a late work of Beethoven, and it's said that it best represents what he sounded like as he improvised. Beethoven was one of the greatest improvisers in music history, and so that should be interesting to hear that collection. But first we have these 5 bagatelles by the British composer Gerald Finzi. He wrote them for clarinet and piano. They were orchestrated by Lawrence Ashmore, who studied with Finzi. Richard Stoltzman solos here with the Guildhall String Ensemble. Richard Stoltzman heard there with the Guildhall String Ensemble, and 5 Bagatelles, or literally Trifles, by British composer Gerald Finzi.
What does it mean to be the voice of the community?
4 years ago, I sat in the outfield grandstand of Minute Maid Park and watched the Red Sox demolish a miserable Houston team.
You're listening to The Caravan from Red River Radio, and I'm Bill Beckett.
Welcome to Crooners After Hours. I'm your host, Mark Christopher Pizzolato. In this half hour, Dean Martin, Perry Como, Harry Connick Jr.,
Red River Radio, your voice of the community, supported by you at redriverradio.org.
And there you have it, redriverradio.org. You can go online right now and make a donation, or you could do something we would love, and that's actually make a phone call at 800-552-8502. We love our phone calls. We have Julie Jamison here, along with Gail Beal, over from Marshall, Texas, representing East Texas today. We had Sally Langston on earlier.
Right, I heard
so East Texas is stepping up, at least in the pitch booth. We need East Texas to step up on the phone calls, so give us a call.
I was wondering, there was a time when Marshall was either the third or the fourth largest community that donated.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we are anymore, and that does not make me very happy.
Well, there you go. Well, we're going to go out. We got to switch.
Well, right. As a city commissioner, it makes me really unhappy.
Well, and there's a whole bunch of reasons to donate. I mean, of course, this station is so wonderful, and we love it so much. And I mean, one of the reasons that I'm here is I love the news, and I want to protect the news. So that's why I serve on the board. But there's a whole bunch of extra reasons today. We've got it's a food pantry day, so I've got a whole huge stack of food here. And if you call in and make a donation of any size whatsoever, call in and donate $10. I will donate something from this pile over to the North Louisiana Food Pantry. And also, if you have any baking questions, Gail is a master baker, and I own a bakery, and we will answer all of your baking questions coming into this holiday season so that you're prepared to make the most delicious, delectable things ever and completely impress your family. It's kind of a local cooking show answer time right now.
Right, or if you're Bill's Brownies, we can show you how to grout them and use them for a sidewalk.
Yeah, absolutely. I've got a wonderfully, if I can get some colors on them, I can paint them and stuff, and then I
can teach you how to make colored chocolate.
There you go. Excellent. 800-552-8502. I tried to bake a roast once. It didn't work. Give us a call, 800-552-8502. Go online right now at redriverradio.org. Actually, I do pretty good cooking, everything except baking. Baking is chemistry.
It really is.
Yeah, cooking is you put some vegetables and you roast in a pot and you put it in the oven for a few hours and you check it for tender, but baking is chemistry.
It is.
It truly is. And, unlike most recipes, it really is important what order you put things in, and just small changes. I mean, whatever problem you're having with your oven, it really could be just a small change in, one of the most, I guess, the biggest tips I can give someone. People wonder, why do my cookies spread so much? They just turn into like one giant cookie. People aren't preheating their oven. That's all it is. If you've got butter in your batter, if you're putting it in there when the oven's not hot enough, then all of those fats are going to melt and it's going to spread all over your cookie sheet. So it's not that you're doing anything wrong or that there's something wrong with your recipe. You just have to wait for the oven to get hot enough.
Here I thought I had invented the giant cookie, the tray-size cookie.
Yeah.
I was going to sell them at the grocery store or at the coffee shop, but they didn't want them.
But you know what? If you do have cookies that get a little bigger than you think that you want them to be, if you bring them out while they're still warm, you can take that cookie cutter and you can press down into it and you can clean those edges right up, and you can make all of your cookies perfectly round so it looks like you got them from a bakery.
And then you can take all those crumbs and serve them over ice cream and call it topping.
I call them cookie bones.
I cheat. I just go to the store and buy cookies and then put them on a tray.
It's a way to get the really wonderful those gingerbread cookie shapes. You know, all of those wonderful shapes. In order to get, if you go ahead and just put that down on top of the cookie as it's before it cools down, you'll get those nice crisp edges that everybody wants and everybody's looking for.
Cool.
It's also helpful to read a recipe. I tried to make pretzels once, and I didn't read the recipe right, and I put the soda in the dough instead of putting it in the water that you boil the pretzels.
Oh, well, there you go. Not good, huh?
Not good. Read the recipe. Warm your oven. Send money to Right.
That's how we bake public radio. Transition. We bake public radio with a little bit of dollars from you, and then you over there, and then you over there, and then, you over in there, Marshall, and that person down in Lufkin, and that guy over there in Nacogdoches. And we've got Natchitoches, and we've got Ruston, and we've got Hallsville, we got Jacksonville, we've got Tyler, every place in between. And, a little bit of ingredients from everybody out there, and we actually have what they call stone soup. I brought the stone, but we need some vegetables. We all know the story. That's how you make public radio. It's an old story. It's an old kind of adage kind of thing, but it makes sense, and if we don't do that, then we ain't got public radio.
Well, we were talking off the air of programs that we've lost because we couldn't afford them
Right,
anymore.
mhm.
And one of them was to the point that I really miss, but we couldn't afford, what was it?
Warren
PRI.
Only and Public Radio International. We had to drop one of our networks, so we lost, the resources that we were getting from there. We kept American Public Media because they provide Marketplace, which was a more, a program that people wanted in the afternoon, and also back then that was a Prairie Home Companions network. Now it's live from here with Chris Thiele. But, we'd love to get that back. Well, we can't do that without your support, folks. So if there are programs that are missing, it may be because you or someone who's a listener are not contributing.
And I love it when Ira Glass starts talking about, $44,000 a year is what you would have to pay for public radio if you paid the same price that you pay for a ticket to a play.
Right.
A cup of coffee.
Mm-hmm.
I'm appalled now at what you have to pay at McDonald's. One time of not going to McDonald's a month. And,
It'll not only improve your health.
Yes.
But it'll improve your wallet, and you might have some money to actually contribute to your public radio station.
I didn't realize is that those numbers count up, and part of the contribution that we get from matches is not the $100, it's the 10 people giving 10.
Right.
And I didn't know that, and that's an important reason for young people or students or whatever that can't contribute much. That number counts. Bill, that number counts.
There is no such thing as too little, okay? And there is no such thing as too much. Whatever you can donate is worth it. And by the way, we have a food drop-off, so if you are one of those young people who believes in donating to the food bank, you could bring your food donation over to the box right in our lobby. You get to meet the staff here at Red River Radio, and you could bring a contribution to Red River Radio. $5, $10, $15, whatever you can afford.
I brought tons of stuff here, so if you're thinking about it, if you're kind of if you're sort of on the fence and you want to make even a small donation to kind of get your toes wet, if it were, do it, and
we'll move that
we'll
food
move
from there to the
stuff
box.
over to the food bank for you, and so it's kind of double bang for your buck. You can do some real good locally for two wonderful and deserving organizations. And if you happen to have a question, we'll be happy to answer it.
There you go.
So, yeah.
We got to get back to some music now. We'll be back shortly, but please do call in during the music at 800-552-8502, or you can go online right now to redriverradio.org.
Something different now as we turn to music by Carl Philipp Emanuel Bach. This is a symphony he composed, and it's in F major. He wrote a lot of these little sinfonias. The Berlin Academy for Ancient Music performs. of the many sinfonias by Carl Philipp Emanuel Bach. It's an F major. And we heard the Baroque ensemble, period instrument group, the Berlin Academy for Ancient Music, performing there without conductor.
What does it mean to be the voice of the community?
Tales of Yazzie-Hood. How did you pull this out?
It was actually me and another gentleman. We both wrote it. His name's Jacarius Drew. He's not
We're the smallest players in the game in the Haynesville Horizontal. We don't have publicly traded.
Well, I wanted to thank him for allowing me to understand the difference between a house wren and a Carolina wren.
All right.
Red River Radio, the voice of the community, supported by you at redriverradio.org.
And that is exactly right. Supported by you, each and every listener who contributes is a part of that community that makes public radio happen. As we were talking earlier about baking, it's like the ingredients to, a good cake or cookies or anything else. You have to add in the right amount of everything. And what we do is we need the right amount of listener support. Now, you may be the $100 supporter, somebody else may be the $35 supporter, and yet somebody else may be able to contribute $500. Work within your budget, but do make that effort to be a supporter of public radio. No matter how much you donate, it all adds up, and that's the key.
And we're a network of communities, and I think the camera is aimed over here, and so I'm going to hold up a poster to show you why Red River Radio unites all of us. This is the Fire Ant Festival. Only Marshall would celebrate the Fire Ant, but we're having a Fire Ant Festival this coming weekend, and we have actually a couple of gifts for people who donate to Red River Radio at the $100 level. You will have lanyard. Yeah, it's a lanyard. You'll have a free entry into the 1 Mile Fund Walk on Saturday, or into the bike ride on Saturday. One is worth $25, the other is worth $50. But for $100, you can go do that for free, get a T-shirt and celebrate the Fire Ant, and realize how much Shreveport and Marshall and Natchitoches and Nacogdoches are all united in one way in celebrating intelligence, great music, intellectual challenge, fire ants, and black-eyed peas.
I want to see the fire ant walkers. I've seen the fire walkers, but the fire ant walkers.
Oh, hey, we do even better. We have people that actually go out and herd fire ants.
Oh, really?
And then there was a contest, I think they still do it, called gurning. You put your head through a toilet bowl seat, like a frame, and the person that has the ugliest face wins.
Oh, well, I already won. I'll stay out of that competition.
You have not seen ugly faces until you have seen them in the gurning contest in Marshall, Texas next Saturday through a toilet seat.
Well, I'm having reminiscence of the Hunchback of Notre Dame, where they had the ugly face contest in that, and the Hunchback won it, of course. They had some interesting faces back in the 1400s.
They did. It had to do with a lot of dental work or lack thereof.
Yeah, and healthcare and things like that.
A few little things like that, yes.
We're much more blessed here. We're going to get back to our last piece of music here, folks. Give us a call, 800-552-8502. We need to hear from you right now. We're going to try to squeeze this last piece of music in.
Dvorak's New World Symphony, just a few minutes away. Here is a concerto grosso, a grand concerto, which is based on the sonatas of Domenico Scarlatti for the keyboard. It was Charles Avison, an 18th century Englishman, who made this arrangement, and this is one of 12 concerti grossi by Avison after Scarlatti. We'll hear the number 10, the Brandenburg Consort, conducted by Roy Goodman. Music originally by Domenico Scarlatti, but arranged by Charles Avison into a concerto grosso, a grand concerto. That was the number 10 of the 12 in all, and a recording by the Brandenburg Consort directed by Roy Goodman.
And we just have a few minutes before we get to the news here. Julie Jameson with me.
Hello.
Gail is down making her donation right now. You got some thank yous to read, don't you?
I do.
We like that.
Well, the first one goes out to my just amazing and fierce and wonderful cousin, Cindy Jameson Reese.
Hey,
Thank you
cuz.
so much. Mwah. Great big kiss in the family there. There we go. Also, Sue Green from Gilmer has made a lovely donation. Thank you so very much. And then we have two that didn't want me to read their names, but I can tell you that we've got a donation from Shreveport and another one from Nacogdoches. Thank you so very much. And we can move some stuff over. So we've got some sweet potatoes from my super sweet cousin. We've got 2, 3, and
you can hear how heavy those cans are because they're ringing up on the thing.
I've got 18 more cans or bags or boxes over here that I'd love to move from one side to the other so that we can make this donation to the Louisiana Food Pantry. So any donation of any size would be deeply appreciated. No one has asked any baking questions yet, so if there's anything that happens to be pondering out there, please call in and get an answer to your questions. And all of these things can be done at the same time as doing something really, really wonderful, such as supporting the station that you're listening to right this very second.
It's so important. It's so important.
Yes.
Oh, I know something I'm forever finding a recipe with buttermilk as an ingredient at 11 o'clock at night. Just throw a little lemon juice in an ordinary.
And it works.
Yeah, homogenized milk is not as good as raw, but I don't have a cow in the backyard, so.
Okay, so we need to donate a cow to Gail, and you need to donate some money to Red River Radio right now to keep all this programming over.
Yes.
We're going to get into the newscast here. Give us a call, 800-552-8502. Go online now to redriverradio.org. Help us out, folks. We need to hear from you this afternoon during the BBC.
This is the BBC News. Hello, I'm Jonathan Izard. Brazil's far-right presidential candidate Jair Bolsonaro has said he won't back down from his views on gun control, human rights and gender issues as he prepares to face a left-wing contender, Fernando Haddad, in a runoff. Mr. Bolsonaro has promised to be tough on crime and to privatise state enterprises. Here's Katie Watson.
The economy is something that bothers Brazilians probably the most. It's one of the biggest topics on this campaign. He doesn't really come up with very many policies. Talks about privatisation, talks about a smaller state, but when you ask him for actual kind of the nitty-gritty, we haven't really heard much about that. And that's the other issue, is that he might have these great policies or he might have these great plans, but when you've got half of the population so against him, because we have to remember, he may well be one of the most popular politicians, but he's also one of the most hated. And this race is not so much about who the best politician is, but it's going to be who's the least worst.
Google is shutting down much of its social network Google Plus after it emerged that data of up to 500,000 of its users had been exposed. The company said a bug in its software meant private information had been accessible by third parties. Dave Lee reports.
Google Plus was launched in 2011 as an attempt to compete with Facebook. It failed, but lingered on in the bowels of Google's vast network of connected services. In March, as Facebook was going through the Cambridge Analytica scandal, Google did its own investigation into whether third-party apps on Google Plus could present a similar problem. The answer was yes, but the company decided the severity did not meet the threshold for disclosure. The Wall Street Journal quoted internal memos that showed Google executives were concerned about added attention from regulators if the software flaw was made public.
President Trump says the sex assault claims against the new Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh were fabricated. Only days earlier, he said he had found Christine Blasey Ford to be very credible. But he's now described Brett Kavanaugh as a man who did nothing wrong but got caught up in a hoax set up by the Democrats who now want to impeach him. He said that was an insult to the American public. The Swiss bank UBS has gone on trial in Paris, charged with helping wealthy clients evade more than $11 billion in taxes by hiding their money in undeclared offshore accounts and trust funds. Hugh Schofield reports.
The charges date back to the days before the 2008 global banking crash, when it's alleged that UBS sent out sales agents from Switzerland to track down wealthy French clients, including businessmen and sports stars, who they persuaded to open offshore accounts undeclared to the French tax office in order to maximise their assets. In all, it's reckoned that some 10 billion euros was moved abroad in this way, and in principle, UBS could face a fine if found guilty of half that amount, enough to cast serious doubt over the bank's viability, but UBS says it'll contest the charges vigorously in court.
Hugh Schofield reporting. World News from the BBC. An investigative website has named the second Russian who Britain says was responsible for the poisoning of a former Russian spy with the chemical agent Novichok in Salisbury last March. Bellingcat says the real name of the man previously known as Alexander Petrov is Dr. Alexander Mishkin. It said he had graduated from one of Russia's elite military medical academies, where he was recruited by the GRU military intelligence. Bellingcat said it used multiple open sources, testimony of people who knew him, and a scanned copy of his passport. The Cameroonian government has dismissed an opposition candidate's claim to have won Sunday's presidential election. Maurice Kamto said he had received a clear mandate from the people. Will Ross reports.
The controversial and provocative announcement by the opposition candidate Maurice Kamto received a blunt reply from the Cameroonian government. The communication minister Issa Chiroma Bakary said Mr Kamto's claim of victory was illegal and meaningless. Hours earlier, Maurice Kamto had ignored the government's directive to wait for the official result and, without providing any evidence, declared himself the winner of the election. He called on President Paul Biya to organise a peaceful handover. He's been in power for 36 years and is widely expected to win a 7th term in office.
The French Prime Minister Edouard Philippe has warned his European counterparts that there is no national solution to migration and that it must be tackled on an international basis. Speaking ahead of a meeting of G6 nations in the French city of Lyon, Mr Philippe said he expected a frank exchange with Italy's Interior Minister Matteo Salvini, who has accused the French President Emmanuel Macron of leading the pro-immigration lobby in the EU. Prosecutors in Belgium say police have broken up a people smuggling ring that was taking around 20 migrants a day to Britain. Officers detained 10 people in raids around Brussels on Sunday and have now charged 7 of them. The gang charged some of the migrants nearly $3,000 to make the trip hidden in lorries, including refrigerated trucks. BBC News.
Hi, I'm Tim Chauvin of Nacogdoches, Texas. My family and I have been listener members of Red River Radio for a very long time. Whether it's the news, music, or other great programming, Red River Radio is a constant in our daily lives. It keeps us entertained, informed, and a little bit sane. I encourage you to join us in supporting this wonderful part of our region and communities with your pledge of support.
You can do that right now at 800-552-8502. Go online now to redriverradio.org. Help us out this afternoon as we get into the news hour. And we hope you enjoyed the BBC News, and we hope you will call in and make your support known through your contribution.
And everyone knows what he did, so he's condemned anyway.
Plus, the whereabouts of the Saudi journalist Jamal Khashoggi is still not known. He vanished after entering the Saudi consulate in Istanbul, and we'll hear a conversation between him and a NewsHour presenter about his fears of going back to Saudi Arabia that took place just days before he went missing. We'll begin, though, by whisking you away from this studio. It is a studio with a view, but not as impressive as the one my NewsHour colleague Tim Franks has swapped it for as he joins us to mull over the results of Brazil's rather dramatic elections.
Thank you, Jamie. We'll get into view swapping a little bit later in the programme, perhaps, but you're right, one of the world's largest democracies gave us one of the stunning blows to the political establishment on Sunday. The far-right presidential candidate Jair Bolsonaro came within a fingertip of capturing the presidency in the first round of elections, taking 46% of the vote in a field of 13. He was the candidate from the minuscule party who outmaneuvered the huge party machines. The one with a tiny campaign budget who outmuscled the big spenders. The one who'd spent nearly 30 years in Congress and presented himself as a fresh start. And above all, the candidate who repeatedly made aggressive and offensive remarks, yet still managed to draw support well beyond his far-right base. And today, in an interview on the radio station Jovem Pan, Jair Bolsonaro also showed himself to be an adroit tactician, trying to attract the remaining small percentage of voters he needs in the runoff election in 3 weeks' time by promising to curb that sharp tongue.
I have to continue to be the same person. Of course, I now use synonyms. In the past, I used swear words, but I don't anymore. So, for instance, talking about women, what's their biggest worry? The security of their children. I have 5 children, 4 sons, and the last one was a girl. You change even more when you have a girl. When I made that comment that I had a girl because I didn't try so hard, I screwed up. That's the kind of joke that men make from time to time. I don't make these kinds of jokes anymore, because people get it wrong, as if I was the enemy of women.
We'll examine in a moment how Jair Bolsonaro did manage to make both himself and his far-right party such a force in Brazil. First, though, a flavour of the party that pulsed outside his oceanfront apartment in Rio as the polls closed last night.
I feel so happy for this moment. The captains come back. It's the better demand for Brazil.
A lot of people say he's a very dangerous man.
No, it's absolutely no, never. Dangerous, never. It's strong for Brazil.
A primeira mensagem que tá.
He says Brazil above everything, and he said God above everyone, and is what Bolsonaro says. And the guns is because she believes that the armed law that Bolsonaro proposed about everyone could have a gun to defend themselves. So she believes she should have this right to defend herself.
Many people are saying that there's too much violence in this country. In any case, handing out more guns, giving the police more right to kill people who they think are threats, that's going to mean that more people will die.
Eu acho que não. Eu acho que tem muito número de mortes, sim.
She said that she doesn't think so. The violence would increase because the police are forgotten in this state.
Esquecida pelas autoridades.
Os filhos desses olhos, mãe, gentil, pátria amada, Brasil.
Two of the thousands who were screaming adulation and singing the utterly splendid Brazilian national anthem after the polls closed. Jair Bolsonaro has another solid constituency of support among the top brass in the military. Retired General Luis Rocha Paiva is one of them. I spoke to him on the phone from the capital, Brasilia. Does he accept that one stumbling block for his man could be the fear and distaste he arouses in many Brazilians?
Bom, o que nós vimos é que as pesquisas erraram muito.
What we saw is that the polls got it very wrong. He gained almost 10 points from the last opinion polls. Haddad increased less, and Haddad would need to win a huge number of additional votes in the second round, more than 15 million votes. We also think that many people who voted for other candidates or were still undecided will vote for Bolsonaro.
Bolsonaro tende a aumentar.
But it's also true that Mr. Bolsonaro has the highest rejection rate among any candidates, and a lot of people are appalled by the offensive things he's said in his career and on the campaign trail, and by his comments about military dictatorship and his admiration of those in the past who have killed and tortured.
O que acontece é que a rejeição que era...
The difference between his rejection rate and that of Fernando Haddad diminished a lot. They're now almost tied. And regarding the military regime and what happened during that time, there's a lot of propaganda about that. The Archdiocese of Sao Paulo did a study into how many people were tortured and found 1,918 cases of people who were tortured. If you divide that by the 10 years of military regime, it's around 1 person per day in the whole of Brazil. That's a lot less than the propaganda suggests. After the end of the regime, the military has consistently been one of the institutions that people think most credible in Brazil. And now we're very close to having a former military man as elected president of the Republic.
This is also a man who, just before he was stabbed last month, called for supporters of the Workers' Party to be shot.
Look, this way of talking is characteristic for Jair Bolsonaro. But it doesn't mean he will actually do that. He often makes these comments and he shouldn't make them. But looking at his time in public life, he's never done anything that would indicate he would do something like this. It's his way of talking, and at the moment, he's paying a price for it.
General Luis Rocha Paiva, one of the many former, and a lot of observers say current, senior army officers who support Jair Bolsonaro. His opponent in the runoff election at the end of the month will be the man who limped in a long way behind in second place with 29%. Fernando Haddad from the left-wing Workers' Party, which had been the political force in Brazil for much of the last 2 decades. Today, Mr. Haddad visited the man who remains the towering figure in the party, despite, or as far as loyalists are concerned, because of the fact that he's currently serving 12 years in jail for corruption and money laundering. Former President Lula Inácio da Silva. Afterwards, Mr. Haddad wouldn't say what they had discussed, but he did try to talk about Jair Bolsonaro's right-wing economic policies.
What I think will dominate the second round is the economic model, the neoliberalism that he is proposing and the social welfare state that we're proposing. Workers' rights and welfare programs are crucial points where our positions diverge. In my opinion, the return of neoliberalism will worsen the crisis.
Well, let's try and get some perspective on all this with Carlos Pereira. He's Professor of Political Science at the Getulio Vargas Foundation here in Rio. We'll talk more about the Workers' Party, the PT, later in the programme, but just as far as Mr. Haddad and the possibility of him winning in the second round, is there any?
Yes, of course. Elections are always an open game. It's very unlikely, though, and because, you know, he has to make serious, credible commitments to the center in order to attract voters and a huge amount of voters in order to overcome the majority that Bolsonaro put ahead of him. But, you know, it's open. It's the beauty of democracy is the uncertainty about the final result. And that's what we have here in Brazil, lots of uncertainty, but at the same time, lots of certainty that despite who is going to be the winner, the loser will going to accept the result.
Well, let's hope that there is acceptance whichever way it goes, because, of course, Jair Bolsonaro has in the past said that he wouldn't accept a result that went against him. One of the things that we are clear about, though, right now, is the extraordinary effect that Jair Bolsonaro's surge in the polls has done for the rest of his party, which had been tiny. I mean, almost non-existent. It's now the second major force in Congress. How significant is that?
It's amazing. It never happened before in the Brazilian history, and a party that, you know, improved so dramatically as the Bolsonaro's party did. You know, for you to have an idea, DPT. And, you know,
that's the Workers' Party.
Yeah, the Workers' Party took about 20 years to reach, you know, 50 seats in Congress, and he did that just like that. And in 2014, the Bolsonaro's party elected just one representative in Congress, and now 52. It's amazing, but it's still, you know, and fell short and to reach the majority of Congress, right? And despite who wins the election, and nobody will enjoy electoral majority in Congress, majority of seats. You have to build coalition after the election.
And it's an amazingly fractured picture, isn't it, in Congress? I mean, I think 30 parties, that's going to be difficult. But, I mean, let's be clear about this. The president, whoever he is, he does have a huge amount of power, doesn't he?
Yeah, you know, we have 19 parties actually who have been able to hold seats in Congress. But despite the fact that we have a huge fragmentation, perhaps the largest fragmentation under presidential regimes on earth, and according to several studies, including myself, fragmentation is not an obstacle for the president to reach governability. It's not impossible to build majority. It might increase the cost of governing, but it's not an obstacle.
And just in terms of the sort of president he could be, I mean, we heard his rhetoric, he's trying to soften that. But in policy terms, when we're talking about, you know, how he's thinking about fighting crime, what he's planning to do to the economy, and so forth, it's very radical and very hard right, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. In both sides, right? And he is extreme right, but also Haddad, the Works Party candidate, and also made a very, extreme and polarized and policy agenda and platform. So, but I do believe that in the second round, both of them will try to moderate their agendas in order to attract center's votes.
That was Professor Carlos Pereira. I'll be talking more to him later in the programme. For the moment, you're listening to NewsHour, live from me, Tim Franks, in Rio, and James Kamarasamy in London.
Hi, this is Sean from Shreveport, and I love Red River Radio because between the commentary and news updates, they find the time to bring in community experts who lend their voices to issues that matter. My favorite show is Health Matters, and I love getting to hear from the healthcare professionals about relevant and interesting medical topics. If you love Red River Radio too, please make your contribution of support today, online at redriverradio.org or by calling 1-800-552-8502.
That is the number to call right now, 800-552-8502, or you can go online right now to redriverradio.org. Bill Beckett back with Gail Beal and Julie Jameson, and do we have any more thank yous? We need more.
No,
we need more. Come on.
We do. We've got a big stack of food we need to
do.
move.
We've got a big stack of food that we want to move over to that pile over there so it can all go to the North Louisiana Food Pantry. And
you can do so many things today, right now.
With one phone call.
With one phone call.
There you go.
You can ride a
Multitasking.
bicycle race. You can contribute to this radio station, which desperately needs the money. And you're right, Bill. We ought to be at, what, 70,000?
Oh, yeah. We are behind the ball or behind the curve, as we often are in these drives, especially
I know
the
it,
fall
but I don't
one.
like to be this far behind.
Well, I don't like to be behind anything. I like to be ahead of everything.
I do too.
So the further in front of the ball I am, the less likely it's going to roll over me. So I try to stay ahead of the ball. Give us a call right now, folks, 800-552-8502. Go online right now to redriverradio.org. We've got lots of good stories coming up. By the way, we have a drawing tomorrow night, a $200 gift card to the Boardwalk. And if you make a donation right now, you'll automatically be entered into that drawing. Plus a drawing Wednesday night for a queen-size pure latex mattress from Mattress Plus. On Thursday night, we have a drawing for a $400 gift card, and at the end of the drive, we have a drawing for a $500 gift card. One donation now gets you entered into all of those drawings, and we have live music coming up throughout this week. Lots of things to donate for. Most importantly, if you listen every day, if you're listening in and out all week long, year long, years and years and years, then you know what the purpose is. You know that you are the backbone of this public radio station. You're the foundation stones.
Good.
You are the financial crux upon which this station relies upon. We need your help.
And there's no other radio station like it, period, which is why it's called public radio. It's not called public because it's free. It's called public because it is the choice of people who want something different and eclectic and intelligent that they can't find on a commercial station.
And that really is true. I mean, that's why I donate my time and my money and my effort to the station. It's to protect the news. I really, in this day and age when there's just so much noise and everything seems to have a bias, and there's so much rhetoric. I really enjoy having in-depth programming and news that has actual answers to it, that has both sides presented, and they present evidence, and the reporting is in a more long-form format, and I really appreciate that, and I feel that it's just so critical in this day and age when we're asked to really come up with so many answers to
In 30
refute,
seconds.
yeah,
In 30
to refute
seconds.
a Facebook feed. I mean, it's just it's lovely to have this, and I value it. I really truly do, and if you value that, I ask you to make some donation, any donation right now. I mean, I honestly donate $10. Let's do some good with it. Let's support this station. Let's support the food pantry, which is a really wonderful local charity that does outreach right when it's needed, right where it's needed. Let's do this.
And if you have been one of the many, many people who have complained about commercial news, boys and girls, now is the time to step to the plate.
Absolutely.
If you didn't like it the way you got it before Red River Radio, the only way you're going to get it is to pay for it. And if you're going to pay for it, you pick up the phone, 1-800-252-8502, or you go online, or you walk in the door with a can of food and a contribution. Hey, anyway you want to get it down here, get it to us, please. Is that begging? Is that begging?
Yeah, 800. You do that good. 800-552-8502. Again, 800-552-8502. Give us a call right now. Go online right now. Make a donation and help us out this afternoon. Any amount is certainly welcome. The more people that can contribute, the less each of us has to carry on our own. The old adage, many hands make light work. That's what we're trying to do here, get as many hands on board as we can. So your contribution is important. Don't sit there and say my $5 or $10 isn't going to matter. Yes, it does matter.
A lot.
Everything matters. If you can't contribute, come down and volunteer. Help out in other ways, but be a part of the family that helps public radio. Most of us can afford $5, $10, $20, $30 a year. And that's not going to break the bank. It's just, it might mean, you lose a Starbucks coffee once every 3 months, okay?
Or you clean out from under your couch more often than once a year.
There you go. I clean my, I get my pledge from my change jar, I changed in.
I've seen you dragging change jars in now.
Well, I don't drag them in here. I take them down to the coin exchange there, but I had $120, so guess what? That's what my donation is. Yeah, that's from a year. And so it's easy. Just, we end up wasting a lot of money on kind of, spur of the moment stuff, and then realize, oh my gosh, the electric bill isn't paid. Oops. This is a bill that comes due for us as well, and we've got to pay that. Otherwise, Red River Radio isn't on the air. We need your help right now, folks. 800-552-8502 as we get back now to more from the BBC.
To raise their children. Either they were seen as political opponents, opposed to General Franco's dictatorship, or in later years it was because they were unmarried, or simply judged too poor. Later on in the 1970s and 80s, campaigners say it simply became a matter of trafficking the children for money. But this was the first trial of anyone actually involved in those alleged practices. And there was a small group of mothers outside court today waiting for the verdict. Some of them said they were angry that Dr. Vela had walked free without any punishment. One described it as a slap in the face. But there were others that were happy the state had acknowledged this for the very first time. We spoke to one mother, Paula Hernandez, whose baby was taken away by a nun in 1974, before Paula could even give her firstborn child a name, she told me, or even learn its gender. Immediately after the birth, she said, she was injected with a drug that left her unconscious. The following day, a nun told her the baby had died. When Paula demanded to know what had happened, the doctor said it was an act of God. When she asked to see the body, she was told it had already been buried. 44 years later, talking to us, she still cries at the thought of the child she never got a chance to hold.
Every year, on the day of his or her birthday, I write a letter. I say you were 9 months in my belly, and I loved you the 5 seconds I managed to get a glimpse of you. I've loved you ever since. My first child. I was full of hope.
Well, that's Paula's story. Lucy, though, just one case. Will there be more?
I think the first thing people are waiting for now is to see what Spain's Supreme Court makes of this appeal and what they say about the legal time limit for trials of this kind. That's obviously going to affect how many trials are brought in the future. There have been thousands of complaints, we understand, but a lot of them are very difficult to follow up because it's so difficult decades later to find the evidence that prosecutors need to really bring a solid case. I mean, Dr. Vela himself is believed to have destroyed evidence relating to the case he was tried on. And of course, many of those involved are now very elderly. Inés's adopted mother, in fact, confessed the situation to her before she died. But because she was handed in as a baby, her mother, of course, had no idea who the biological parent was. Dr. Vella is the man who can tell her, but despite this landmark trial, Ines is still no closer to finding out who her birth mother is, or even if she's still alive.
That was Lucy Williamson in Madrid there on that verdict in the case of the stolen babies. There's a lot more background on that if you head to our website. Just go to bbc.com/news. And if you want to get in touch with us about anything you hear on the programme, you can always do that on Twitter. Our handle is @BBC NewsHour. You can get in touch with me directly at BBC Jamie Koo. And if you miss any live edition of the programme, there's always the podcast, which we update twice a day, 7 days a week. Just look for BBC NewsHour podcast. Plenty more to come on this edition of the programme. Back to Tim Franks in Brazil, and we'll be considering the new UN climate change report. That's all on NewsHour from the BBC World Service.
And it's about 29 minutes after 3 o'clock. Good afternoon to you. I'm Kermit Poling, General Manager here at Red River Radio, and I'm stepping in. I know you've been listening to Bill here for the last little bit, but lucky I get to sit in here with Gail and with Julie, and hey, good afternoon.
Thank you kindly.
Yeah,
Bill went to sleep 3 times. It was really embarrassing.
Well, yeah, well, you see, the thing is you know, he's nowhere near. He does that anyway. He thinks I don't notice.
Oh!
Don't tell anybody.
Oh, okay. But if they came and they pledged and they watched on Facebook, they would see it, you see.
Oh, that's right. And it would totally wake everybody up. I'm trying to get both of you on here on there you are. I've got both of you on so if you're on Facebook, you can take a look at the Red River Radio Facebook page, or if, you can go to YouTube. You can get there via our website if you want to do that. So kind of fun, just a little extra added layer.
Right. Yeah. Well, and we want all those cans over there in front of Julie to move over here in front of me, because people send money, and every time we get a pledge, we move a can.
You move a can over. Well, when I looked in here earlier, there weren't any cans over there.
There
so
are now.
Wow, you've been getting some pledges.
Yes, it's true. It's wonderful. Very excited and so grateful for every last one of them. And I've been making, donations of any size are always welcome, but I actually have been making a play for the little donations. I want a lot of donations. I want to be able to read people's names and move these cans from this side over to that side. I want some action.
It's probably because you don't want to have to move those cans all the way out to your car again.
Well, no, they're going into your box.
There's
okay, all right.
There's that, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, but we confess the awful truth. So.
These are interstate contraband. I brought these beans all the way from Marshall, Texas.
Well, I don't know anything about
any of that. Those are the ones I brought. You brought the other ones.
You're right. I brought these beans all the way from
I have no idea about any of that. Well, there's no commerce. But in any case, I know nothing about that. But what I do know is that well, this is great, and we do, when December comes around, we do an event that focuses on the food banks as well.
I
so
love
this is
that
just
one. It's my
really
favorite.
Very nice. Well, when we are going to do that, come December. Well, this right now is just a little. The university is doing a thing with the food bank. So make your contribution. The phone's ringing right now, and Gail and Julie will donate some food to the food bank. But you know what? If you want to drop by the station, you're welcome to do that too. You can bring some more here, and I can't say that I don't have like a little I don't know, kind of a motive here, because the university tends to compete department to department on it, and it's like, I don't want to take advantage of the fact that we're actually a radio station and we reach thousands of people, but why not?
Why not? And you brought up December.
Yes.
And Gail is a master baker, and I own a bakery. And so if you're out there and, December is coming, and there's all kinds of holidays.
Wait. So she's a master baker and you own a bakery. But
she can bake too.
I was going to say.
I don't want to toot. I don't like to toot my own horn like that.
But I mean, that's something. That makes it sound like, well, she's the one who really bakes. I just own the bakery. But
I just know. Well, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm a very...
Yeah, she's a great baker.
I am a great baker, but I don't like to say that. But
did you bring any cupcakes today?
I didn't.
Oh man,
I
know.
I was actually closed today. That was
all right.
Yeah.
Well, I'll let you off the hook for that. But, anyway, I interrupted you. Go ahead and say what you were going to say.
We both have have lots and lots of baking experience, and the holidays are coming. So if you have questions about baking, if you have, you know, why are my brownies so hard, or why are my cookies spreading all over the cookie sheet, or, you know, how can I make my meringues, you know, look just so...
Or how can you flame a Christmas pudding? You know the song about the Christmas pudding. Yeah. I know how to set it on fire without setting your house on fire.
all I know is bring us some figgy pudding. Is that what you're talking about? Oh, yeah, which I have never had.
If you call in, ask those questions, and we'll be happy to answer them on air.
Well, that's cool.
We've got
kind of like Bake Talk.
Yeah. Sifted sugar, baby.
More clever
Sifted
name
sugar.
than that.
So, but yeah, no, just so there's a lot you can accomplish with one little phone call. Call in, make a donation. At the same time, we're donating food in your honor to the Louisiana Food Pantry. You're supporting this wonderful radio station. You can have your baking questions all answered so that everybody thinks you're a fantastic baker and you can impress everybody over the holidays.
And you can make Southern soup with what we brought.
So yeah, I mean, there's a lot you can accomplish with one phone call. So please call on in.
Yeah, go ahead. 800-552-8502 or go online at redriverradio.org. A reminder, we have drawings coming up in this drive too. So you'll get entered into those. There is one tomorrow.
For a $200 gift card.
Right, to the Louisiana Boardwalk. Wednesday for a mattress plus special pure latex queen size mattress. That's really cool. And then between now and the end of the drive, there are still more of those gift cards.
Yeah, there's a 400 and a 500 coming up. And any size donation gets you entered into all of these drawings, right?
Yes, of
course.
Oh,
that's fantastic.
Yeah, so, all of them. One call. We'll get you in all of those. Give us a call now, 800-552-8502. We're going to get back into BBC here, and we'll be back here in just a little bit. Want to thank you in advance. So there, you've already been thanked. So I hope that means that you'll feel inspired to call in and make your contribution. Thanks.
And so the damage is in the cover-up rather than the crime, as it were. So it may be a case of, you know, they're going to have to answer to why they didn't disclose what they knew, and why it took the Wall Street Journal's report in order for that to become public. Indeed, the Wall Street Journal quoted several internal memos suggesting that one of the reasons why Google didn't do this is because they were concerned about added regulator pressure, because of course Google's under a lot of pressure about transparency already. It seemed they were considering whether this might add to that pile and bring them into the problems that Facebook were having. But whatever they're thinking, it's certainly come back to haunt them now.
And that was our North America technology reporter Dave Lee in San Francisco on the soon-to-be late and not entirely lamented Google+. You're listening to NewsHour from the BBC World Service. This is the BBC World Service and you're listening to NewsHour with James Kamarasamy live from our studios in central London.